taking a week off for Christmas, spending time with family. We're back. Did you miss the fun? Did you miss the fun bunch? Did you miss us? We're back rocking and rolling right here, the #1 forum for Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, bringing you the show right here from the magic city of Birmingham. Streaming to you the show on YouTube. Speaking of the channel, if you have not done so, go ahead right now. Smash that subscribe button. Hit subscribe right now. Tell your friends to subscribe to the channel. Leave a thumbs up. Drop a like on the show. Turn all of those notifications on. Hit that little bell so that way you know what to do. You can get all of your news, notes, alerts, entertainment on your favorite program, that being Alabama football. We also got you covered on Facebook and Twitter as well, streaming to you the show. People, we got a lot to talk about. We here, baby. College football playoff week. Bama, Cincinnati, going at it Friday, 2:30 p.m. Central Time kickoff. ESPN has to call on the game from Arlington, Texas, AT&T Stadium, Jerry World. Cincinnati coming out with the all-black. We will see what that does for the Bearcats. But Alabama, since 2012 under Nick Saban, a perfect 5-0 in Jerry World. So really pumped here for this matchup. Got my man Bill from New York already starting us off right with that $5 donation, helping us out right here. Daily Super Chat Go, $75. Daily Super Chat Go. We want your energy, your passion tonight. Blow those phone lines up. Ring the phones. Get your thoughts. Get your questions. Get your opinions. Get your voices heard tonight on the show. You can do this by calling 205-448-1358. The number again, 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. I'll be making my trip to Arlington, Texas coming up here on Thursday. But got my man John Ivory, as always, in the production studio. We're going to get into topic number one of the conversation right now, as both teams have made it to, where they both made it to Dallas on Sunday. And John, first and foremost here, when you look at, it's already happening. Well, first and foremost here, when you look at the coaching staff for the Crimson Tide, both Bill O'Brien and Doug Marrone, offensive coordinator Bill O'Brien, offensive line coach Doug Marrone, both of these two individuals, they will be in Texas on between Wednesday and Thursday. According to Coach Saban Sunday, he talked about it. Both guys will be at AT&T Stadium between Wednesday and Thursday. The two have been taking part in Zoom meetings, in Zoom practices, making sure that they got all the preparation, all the stuff, everything handled and good to go. Now, both guys feeling much better. Both guys not terribly sick, not terribly ill. Both guys up and about and around, doing the necessary things they need to make sure that all the prep, all the planning, everything is set here in pocket and in order. Going back to last week, both coaches tested positive for the COVID-19 virus. Coach Saban quickly was able to assess the situation. Both coaches were at home in isolation and quarantine. So according to Saban, no players tested positive for the virus. It did not spread to any of the players. No players have been in COVID protocols. All the players have been vaccinated. All the players, well, 92% of the team has had that booster shot. So that was the best thing about all of this, is it didn't spread to the players. Players are okay. Those guys are good. And with Marrone and O'Brien being in Texas between Wednesday and Thursday, the biggest question that U.S. fans have had was, well, who's stepping up in terms of coaches to help with the team? Who have been the assistants to really, put the players in the right mindset, the right mind frame in terms of the execution process going up against the Bearcats? Well, on the offensive line, that coach has been Joe Pendry, a name, a flash from the past right there. Pendry at 74 years of age. He's one of the OG generals under Coach Saban. If you remember, he coached for 41 years, John. 41 years Pendry coached. And here was a guy that is a complete renaissance man in terms of offensive coaching. He has served in every offensive position with the exception of tight ends coach. Pendry was a head coach, an offensive line coach, a quarterbacks coach, running backs coach, wide receivers coach, served in every single facet. He actually retired back in January of 2011 after his service there in terms of the coaching profession, but he is now on the support staff with the Crimson Tide. And as an offensive line coach and assistant head coach from 2007 to 2010, Pendry was on the staff that Crimson Tide won an SEC title and a BCS national championship in 2009. During that year, Pendry had that offensive line doing what they do, mauling guys, putting guys on the ground, roughing guys up. And with Pendry, it propelled Mark Ingram to be the program's first Heisman Trophy winner at the running back position. Ingram, 1,658 rushing yards and 17 touchdowns. So while Marrone making his way to Texas, of a team in good hands in practice for the next couple of days here with one Joe Pendry. Now, in terms of the play calling ordeals, this goes to more so Alex Mortensen and Holman Wiggins. Now, Mortensen is an offensive analyst for the Crimson Tide. He's the son of ESPN NFL insider Chris Mortensen. But Alex played quarterback in college. Very smart, very savvy, very skilled, highly skilled offensive mind. He got to the Crimson Tide in 2019. He has coached, he has helped mentor the likes of Tua Tagovailoa, Mac Jones, and now Bryce Young. And, of course, during the SEC championship game against Georgia, Mortensen did a lot of that lifting in crafting the game plan with O'Brien to keep Georgia off balance, to keep Georgia offset, to disrupt the timing of that Bulldogs defense. We saw in the SEC title game that Jordan Davis couldn't do nothing up front. Channing Tindall, Nolan Smith, Nakobe Dean, none of those guys can get penetration. None of those guys can have success defensively. And a lot of that was due to the game planning, scheming, strategizing of Alex Mortensen. So he will be helping out here with this game planning, along with him in practice, of course, along with him, Holman Wiggins, the wide receivers coach, who was the one offensive coaching holdover from 2020. He has been here since 2019, and while he is an exceptional wide receivers coach, he knows the offense, he knows the plays, he knows the strategy, he knows what Coach Saban wants. He knows how Coach Saban wants this thing being ran and being directed and operated. So I think in terms of play calling, until O'Brien makes his way to Texas between Wednesday and Thursday, you will see a lot of that combination of continuity with Alex Mortensen, offensive analyst, and Holman Wiggins at wide receivers coach kind of pitching in there. So that's kind of right now where we stand in terms of updates here for your Crimson Tide, with O'Brien and Marrone both getting to the game site here before Friday, between Wednesday and Thursday. They've been on Zoom. They have been a part of meetings virtually, a part of practices virtually, and things of that nature. But Coach Saban mentioned Sunday they will both be able to coach the game. But as both guys are making their way down there, Joe Pendry is stepping in an on-field role in practice, working with, helping out the offensive line. And in that regard, it's always a good thing when you have an Evan Neal who's played in 30-plus games in his career. He knows what to do. He knows how to operate things. It's a good thing when you have a Chris Owens who's played 6 seasons in his sixth year with Alabama. He knows what to do. He knows how to operate. And then, of course, with O'Brien making his way down, you've got Alex Mortensen and Holman Wiggins helping out there. But, folks, we take our first break here on the show. Don't touch that dial. Just getting started. Upon our return, we go to the phone lines to grab your calls, your thoughts, your tweets, your chats, your interactions. We're back, baby, from the Christmas holiday break. In my own words, don't touch that dial. We're coming back.
You're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace today by visiting weownthefourthquarter.com. Throw them foes up.
I'm Malachi Moore, and you're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith on Touchdown Alabama YouTube channel.
9 players have teamed up and released the Alabama Team Paper, which is a video yearbook they've put out for sale direct to fans. Now, for the first time, small dollar purchases from the fans can support the players as a group as well as a great cause, because $1 of every subscription payment is donated to the Boys and Girls Club of America. Be a 5-star fan base and support your team and a great cause with Team Paper. Check it out at teampaper.com/Alabama.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
And we are back into the action here, folks, from the break with number one form for Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, your Crimson Tide in Dallas, getting ready for the Goodyear Cotton Bowl college football playoff semifinal against Cincinnati. That's coming up here on Friday. And before we take your calls, call segment brought to you by the Blue Ridge Gang. We got some super chats right now. We got Jimmy, the bad man Clay. Baddest donator in the game, Clay, that $50 donation in the super chats. And Jimmy Clay came back again with $20 more, so $70 coming from Jimmy Clay. And then Bill from New York comes back with another $5 donation. The daily super chat goal of $75 has been met. Appreciate the love there coming from Jimmy Clay and my man Bill from New York. But right now, we go to the phone lines to take your calls here from the Blue Ridge Gang, 205-448-1358. Now I'm going to let your voice be heard right there, 205-448-1358. We grab this call here. You're live on the show. How are we feeling? State your name and where you're calling from.
Steven, it's Coach Smook, man. I'm feeling great tonight. I'm calling from Phoenix City, Alabama, brother. What's going on, my guy?
Going great, Senator. Going fantastic. Had a great Christmas, fantastic Christmas. But after that good week off to re-energize and get charged back up, being with the family. Happy to be back talking to the Crimson Tide football people and giving y'all, my take and insight on things about this game right here coming up.
Man, I'm glad you guys are back, man. It was a rough week last week. I wasn't able to catch the Riley show. The Justin Riley show, the Bama Standard live, but I was able to get there and rewatch it. It's not the same, man. And I was rewatching the TDA in my own words, like every episode I could think of that was talking about making points about this game, man. I think we are allowing the media to do what they've been doing with Alabama football all year, and that's forget who we are as Alabama. We've had a different type of year. Just like last year, we had a different type of year. And I don't think people understand the evolution of Alabama football under Coach Saban, how it steadily is consistently evolving. And people need to realize, man, like this is not just a one-year thing for us. This is something that's been developed. It's taken years and years to keep this consistency going. And when we talk about matchups, when it comes to Cincinnati, Steven, I know they have some good players. We're not going to discount what Cincinnati has done. We're not going to talk about the schedule because everybody has to go out and play and win their football games. For anybody to go undefeated, that's a big feat. But this is basically UCF, what UCF wanted a few years back. And we all know if UCF would have showed up to that college football playoff undefeated like they did, they were undefeated. If they would have showed up that year, they weren't beating any of the top three. And I feel like the same thing about Cincinnati. I don't think Cincinnati matches up very well. Athletically on the perimeter, they may be able to compete, but that's only one area of the field. If you can't stop the run, you're going to need to leave your guys in there for run support, and that puts your DBs one-on-one. How great are your DBs covering first round, top second round, future first round talent? How good is your front line going up against three future first round offensive linemen? Against a rated first rounder this year. Like this is levels of talent that they haven't seen all season. Notre Dame wasn't good like this. I mean, they don't have the track record to say, hey, Cincinnati can actually give us some problems. And they're going to have to call one hell of a game, Steven. I mean, out-scheme the crap out of the best coach of all time. And that's not happening when he's had a month to prepare for you. That's not happening. Basically, he's had a month to prepare for you. And it's not going to happen, Steven. And people want to give Cincinnati a chance. I'll be glad when they show up. You know, I'll commend them for showing up. But, Steven, this is going to be one of those games. Our guys are on a mission. Our staff, our boys, they're on a mission. You got a lot of guys that are getting opportunities. I see Jalen Armour-Davis might be healthy. I still think Kyrie Jackson is going to get the nod. Coach Saban has been talking about this guy for a minute, and I think he's going to give this guy his opportunity because you have a chance to instill some more leadership for next season. And we all know Coach Saban is always about preparing, playing the next step ahead. But, man, it's great to be back, Steven. I'm so happy, you know, that it's game week. This weekend is going down. This Friday is going down, Steven. My score prediction, and I'm going to stick with it. Bama's putting up 49 plus, and we're not giving up more than one touchdown. They might sneak and get us 49-10. I'm thinking 55-10 for Bama Cincinnati game this weekend, Steven. That's all I got, man. Glad to be back. TDA fam, Blue Ridge Gang, I love y'all. Love y'all in the chat. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep supporting. This is awesome. The best Alabama football news outlet out there, man. Y'all take it easy. Much love, Steven.
Appreciate Senator Hines checking in here on a Monday. Put that one on the scoreboard, John. 55-10. Senators got Bama taking care of the Bearcats. But we take this call here. You're live on the show Monday. College football playoff week. You're live on the show. How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Well, it's always good to be back on TDA. The Blue Ridge President's always excited to be on TDA Magazine to get to listen to Stephen Smith, the best hype man in the business, what Justin Riley always said. I see Whitwell Sports in the chat. Everybody in the chat, I see y'all. Love all y'all. Hope you had a great Christmas. Hope you have a great New Year's. We know what we want for New Year's. We want that trophy coming home, back to sweet home, Alabama. We want to bring it down and put it in Bryant Museum and put it in there with Coach Bryant. One more trophy to stack on the shelf, Stephen. Just tell me, when they told me Joe Pendry was going to coach our offensive line, I knew then, Stephen, we didn't have no worries. That man knows how it's done. He's a perfectionist. He is an icon, a trailblazer. Tell him, Stephen, they ain't got nothing to worry about. Lay it on him. Tell him.
I'm going to tell you this way. When I heard Coach Saban say Joe Pendry would be filling in this week in practice, assuming that on-field role, coaching the offensive line until Marrone makes his push down to the Texas. I felt really strong about this because, like I mentioned, Pendry has coached every offensive position except for tight end. He's been a head coach before. He's been an offensive coordinator. He's been a quarterback's coach. He's been a running back's coach. He's been an offensive line coach. And that 2009 offensive unit that Alabama had that season under Pendry, that group mauled people. That group mashed people. That group put people on their butts. And it led to, of course, Mark Ingram being the program's first Heisman Trophy winner in the 2009 season. So, yes, Pendry, an older guy at 74 years of age, but I mentioned one of the OG generals that have been a part of Coach Saban for quite some time, and even with him being on the support staff, that football knowledge has not left him at all.
No, it's not left him. Joe is the best there is, and he does what they used to call sort of motor grade blocking. That means that offensive line's going all one way. They all go one way together, and that means they're going to smash mouth you in the ground. That's just the way it is. But I hope everybody had a great Christmas again. I'm going to get out of here. A lot of people want to call in tonight. Y'all be safe. We're going to have a good week. We're going to have a good game on Friday. We're going to go to that national championship game January, and we're going to bring that trophy home down there to Coach Bryant's museum. I love all of you. Y'all be safe. I'll be back on Wednesday. Glad y'all back, Stephen. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Appreciate the call coming from Wayland here on a Monday. Glad to be back, too. Enjoy the Christmas. Enjoy the time with the family. But just really pumped, jacked, energized to be back here talking Crimson Tide football. We grabbed this call here. You're live on the show. How we feeling? State your name and where you're calling from.
Hey, Stephen, this is Jim Gallagher out of Dallas. How you doing?
Jim, how you feeling, man?
Well, feel pretty good. We had a pretty good holiday and looking forward to the new year. Of course, looking forward to the game coming on Friday. And last time I talked with you, I guess a couple of weeks ago, I was asking you if you knew anything about exactly what a bearcat was, because I never had seen one or heard of one or anything else. And so I looked it up, and I don't know a whole lot more now than I did before I looked it up. Really, it's kind of a strange looking, kind of a small animal. It sort of looks a little bit like a possum. Have you ever seen? I know you've seen a possum before.
I have.
And yes, sir. And it kind of looks like a possum and a little bit like a polecat. You know what a polecat is, Stephen?
Yeah. So that's a very interesting creature, though, Jim.
Yes, sir. It is. It's kind of like a skunk, and that's what most people would call it. But a bearcat's not from anywhere around here. It's from over in Asia, and somewhere over around Indonesia. And I can promise you that there's not any actual bearcats anywhere in Texas, because if there was, we'd already run them off. And I'm pretty sure that there's not any in Alabama either. So I don't know. I mean, anyway, that's the rundown on the bearcat. It doesn't have anything to do with bear or cat, as far as I could tell. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about recruiting. We didn't get a chance to discuss it with you before, and everyone has made a big deal about, A&M having the best recruiting class. And, I guess by the numbers they did. And, that's good that they did for them. But what A&M needs to recognize is, in order to crack the top level of football, they're going to have to do this every year. You don't have to be number one, but you got to be in the top 4 or 5 every year, and that's what Saban's done, and that's why Alabama's been so successful. And then after you achieve that, and you get all these high-rated 5-stars and 4-star players, then you got to develop them into college players. They may be great in high school, but high school and college ball is 2 different things. And you got to prepare them for college ball and develop them over time. It takes a while to do that with almost all of them. And at that point in time, then you're going to be competing like we are, like Saban's teams are. You're going to be competing for a national championship every year. I played baseball in college. I didn't play football, but I did in high school. And our coach told us, he said, there's 4 levels of being good at football. And I think that's still true. First of all, you're no good. That's the first level. That's when you don't know anything and you're just not any good, and you need to learn what football is all about. Then you get to where you're pretty good. That's the second level. Then when you master that, you move to the third level of being good. That's what the coach would say. And then he said, on the 4th level, you're damn good. And he said, after you get to that level, then you're ready to play some football, and we're going to find out which level you're at. So it's kind of like that when you're developing a player, and the players that come to Alabama or the players that recruited 4 or 5 stars or what have you, they're already pretty good, but they have to be developed into college players. And then, of course, a lot of them will play in the NFL. A lot of them will play in the NFL. And to be in the NFL, you have to reach that 4th level, which is to be damn good. But as far as this game coming up on this, Cincinnati team. I think we'll be able to run the ball on them if, our running backs, we only got 2 left as far as I can tell, actual running backs. If they're able to get some blocking from that offensive line, I think we'll be pretty good. We'll do pretty well, and we can, establish a line of scrimmage and control the ball game, and I think we'll have a real good chance of winning the game. And I'm going to say it's going to be something like 38-17, some 42-20, somewhere in that ballpark. But that's my guess. But anyway, I'll get off of here, and I want to once again say what a good job you're doing, and all these callers. I really enjoy hearing them. And I wish Alabama good luck, and I wish all these folks on here a very happy New Year.
Absolutely. Appreciate my man Jim Gallagher from Dallas, Texas with the call there. You see, Bama Nation, you're getting Crimson Tide football. You're also getting National Geographic right here as our own Jim Gallagher breaking down what a Bearcat truly is. So we can put that on the board as well. We got to shout out my man Juan Whitfield. Juan Whitfield, it seems at $19.99 there. 50, my part, 50 piece. Coming from Juan Whitfield, pimp walking in here, showing love to us on the show on a Monday. We continue with calls here. We take this one. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you're calling from.
Bill from New York. How you doing, brother?
Doing great, Bill. Fantastic. Had a great Christmas. I'm back on here talking to Bama Nation. You can't beat this.
That's what I like to hear. So, what I want to say is, I don't know. I feel like sometimes given extra time between games, I get a clearer picture of what I'm about to be looking at. I'm not always right, but that's the way I feel. I just feel like I get a clearer picture. And one thing I noticed, I read somewhere that Cincinnati's biggest defensive linemen, 2 of them, weigh in at 285 pounds. So my thing is that would seem to lend itself towards running successfully. I mean, really successfully. My biggest fear there is if guys like Evan Neal can stop laughing long enough to just stomp them into the ground. That's what I want them to do. I want them to stomp them right into the ground. And I think that looking at it like that, running games can be lower scoring. So it's going to be up to the defense, to do what we want them to do. We want them to just stop Ford, rush the passer and force turnovers. And that's Saban football. That's old school Nick Saban football. That's what we do. And, the other thing I just want to say thanks to you. It's great to have you back. Thanks to the staff. Thanks to all the great callers and the Blue Wrench gang. It's all good. I'm not too worried about it. You know what I mean? We're going to beat them. Have a great night.
Appreciate Bill from New York calling in here. I got a chance, John, to listen to Jerome Ford's presser today, and he spoke on, I appreciate Alabama, but can y'all stop referring to me as the Alabama transfer? I'm a Bearcat, and this is a business trip. So you even got Jerome Ford using Coach Saban terminology in terms of the word business trip. So Friday could be kind of a fun, entertaining game here. We'll see how it all unfolds, but we continue with calls right now. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you're calling from.
Hey, Stephen, how's it going, sir?
Doing great, and yourself, man?
All right, this is Sam calling out of Dallas, Texas. We made it, Mama. We made it.
We here, baby. We are here.
And yes, sir. We're here. And I'm just glad that things are in place here, Stephen. I was kind of thinking, what would I, put my mind on when it comes to the Tide. And I appreciate TDA throwing them clips out earlier today on the YouTube channels. I saw where had a little practice going on at the AT&T Stadium. Of course, guys were looking focused, things of that nature. Then I saw yesterday when they gave some clips of guys coming off the bus and things of that nature. I just want to say, Stephen, I think the team is focused. I think the team is ready to do business. I'm not going to give a score prediction. And the reason why I'm not going to give a score prediction, Stephen, is because we just don't know. We know that the team is going to win, but we just don't know. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game on Bama's end. So I appreciate you, sir.
Appreciate the call that comes from my man Sam out of Dallas right there. And going back to press conferences, Will Anderson spoke today for Alabama. Still thinks that the Crimson Tide has been disrespected, not getting the respect it deserves. So you still have an angry Alabama team coming into AT&T Stadium known as Jerry World in Arlington, Texas. So going to be exciting to watch the defense take the field against Desmond Ridder and Cincinnati. We grab this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name, where you're calling from.
Hey, Steven, it's Mattress Matt from Mobile. How you doing?
Mattress Matt, my man, what's going on, brother?
Yeah, and I haven't had a chance to talk to you since the Georgia game, but I just wanted to, congratulate Alabama and at just the wonderful job that everybody did. I mean, from the coaching to the players executing to everything, I think, for a true Alabama fan, that the way that they played really fulfilled our heart's desires as fans. To see their offense finally utilized, how it's supposed to, with the misdirection and keeping Georgia off guard. It didn't matter how good Georgia's defense was. We had it figured out the whole time. We knew what we were going to do, and we went in there and we did it, and it was very satisfying. I have to tell you, the barbecue ribs that I ate tasted 10 times better because of that game. You know what I mean?
I mean, absolutely. That was an incredible matchup, Matt. And I go back to the combination of Alex Mortensen as the offensive analyst and Bill O'Brien as the coordinator. Both of those two sat down and really put a game plan together. Mort did a great job of cutting the game plan up, looking at the numbers, the data, the analytics, the scheme, the schematics, and handing that over to Bill O'Brien. And O'Brien did a great job tweaking those things up. And the two together, masterful game plan of being able to run the ball a little bit, but having Bryce Young on the attack, having the job of the offensive line, just completely taking Georgia's front out of the picture.
I mean, I remember the days of when Alabama was in such a bad place that we were wishing that we got Francione back. That's how bad of a situation that we were in. And I remember I was 9 years old and watched the '92 national championship, and then and then all that time that passed. So I'm a grateful Alabama fan, and I have been enjoying Alabama being dominant, but I get hard on them sometimes, man. I know last time I called your show, and I got a couple people riled up on the chat, because I try to act like a coach sometimes, even though I have know nothing about coaching. Anything that I say is, ask your doctor before making any decisions. But I just like to call up here and speak my mind, man. I like your passion, and I hope you keep doing it.
Absolutely. Appreciate Mattress Matt right there. And I've always said this. The fans are what drive college football. If you do not have loud, passionate, opinionated fans, then how good is your team really? How good is your program really? Because the voices behind college football, the people that are so invested, are the fans. And if you don't have invested fans, but is college football really college football? Sit back and marinate on that question. And as you're thinking about that, we continue with calls, taking this one right here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you're calling from.
Hello, Stephen. My name is Will, and I'm calling from Cincinnati. As you could guess, I am a Bearcat fan, first-time listener, first-time caller. I appreciate you having me on. I just wanted to reference a few callers ago, just in terms of the history and the origin of where the Bearcat came from, where the name came from. Came from a football game in 1914. Cincinnati was playing the University of Kentucky at the time. Cincinnati didn't have a name or a mascot. So basically, during this game against Kentucky, there was a player named Leonard K. Bear, and his nickname was Teddy, like Teddy Bear, but Bear was spelled Baehr. And it was a hard-fought game. And during this game, at some point, legend has it, a UC cheerleader yelled to the stands, they may be the Wildcats, but we have a Bearcat on our side, as in Baehr cat, referencing that player. And eventually the name just stuck, and that's basically how they became the Bearcats. So just wanted to fill the audience in here. But anyways, I did have a question about Alabama's offensive line. We've been hearing a lot of things that might be the weakest point of the team. Obviously, Alabama is the best of the best, and this is the biggest game in Cincinnati Bearcats history. But everything that I've read or I hear kind of points to Alabama's O-line being the weakest part of the team. Would you agree with that? Just my question. Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate Will from Cincinnati calling in, getting the history lesson on how the Bearcat was originated there. Alabama's offensive line, it's had inconsistent moments all year. I think it finally got it together the second half of the Iron Bowl, and that was when Coach Saban made the move to have Seth McLaughlin, the sophomore, at center, moving Chris Owens back to right tackle. That provided the drive that Bryce Young had, the 12-play, 97-yard drive to tie the game and put the game into overtime. Of course, we all saw what happened after that. And then the game against Georgia of the offensive line played extremely well. So I think the second half of the Iron Bowl, it got things together. It has been inconsistent at times, but I think it's fine now. Hopefully we will see the same product that we saw on the field against Georgia in the matchup here coming up against the Bearcats. But I appreciate Will for that call there. We grabbed this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? State your name and where you're calling from.
This is Curtis. I'm calling from Mississippi.
Curtis, what's happening, brother?
Nothing. I'm a Roll Tide fan. Been a Roll Tide fan for years. And I want to ask you something. You know, let's say Alabama get by Cincinnati, and then let's say that Michigan beat Georgia. You think that would be a good matchup, Alabama and Michigan?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you got two traditional powers going at it. You have Nick Saban, Jim Harbaugh going at it. Of course, a lot of Alabama fans like to have a shot at Jim Harbaugh, beating Jim Harbaugh, of course. I remember when he first came into the Big Ten, he had some comments about his satellite camps, about how he was going to out-recruit, the SEC and pull guys from the SEC and things of that nature. If it was Alabama-Michigan, it would be a great matchup.
Give me your opinion on this here. I'm just tired of seeing Alabama and Georgia. I mean, Georgia, if they can't beat them, they didn't beat them this year. When is they going to beat them? I don't believe they're going to ever beat them.
That's the biggest question, man. That's the question that all Bulldog fans are asking Kirby Smart. How long? We brought you in here. You sat up under Coach Saban for 9 years. Is there anything that you've taken from the man that can help us, being Georgia, beat the man here? Ask the question.
Yeah, I was just tired of seeing Alabama and Georgia. Alabama beating Georgia. They done beat them, 3 times?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just tired of seeing. I wish Michigan beat them. So that'd be Alabama and Michigan. I believe that would be a good game.
Think it would also. Appreciate Curtis from Mississippi there for that call. I mean, to me, whether it's Alabama, Georgia, Alabama, Michigan, really doesn't matter. My mindset is on getting down to Texas here on Thursday and checking out Alabama, Cincinnati from AT&T Stadium. But we grabbed this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you're calling from.
Hey, I'm Jackson from Mississippi.
Jackson, what's happening, man?
Oh, I just wanted to clear the air up with some fans. I feel like a lot of people worried about the Mechie injury, and I don't know if a lot of fans get down in football like we do. So Cincinnati runs a 3-3-5, and I watched a lot of film on their defense and their D-line. I don't really see this being an air assault game for us. I see us running the football around 70% of the time. If people don't realize we should go on 12 personnel, I don't think their linebackers match up with Billingsley or Latu. I feel like we could throw the ball at 12 personnel and run the ball at 12 personnel. Also, a lot of people talking about Sauce, their corner, number one, and Bryant. A lot of people talking about a one-on-one matchup. People don't realize Nick Saban is smart enough to not let Sauce guard Jameson Williams the whole game. He's going to be motioning. There's going to be ways to get him the ball. He's not going to let them double team him the whole game. And then offensive-wise, Cincinnati, I just don't see how really they're going to have success. They love to run the ball, but I just don't see them blocking our 4-2-5 defense. I really don't see it. I like they got one receiver, though, that can, make some plays, but I don't know. I don't really see it. I think it's going to be around 42-14, but I feel like Bama's going to run the football a lot, clock management, and, get them out of there. Well, that's all I wanted to say. Appreciate you. I'm loving the show. That's it.
Appreciate Jackson from Mississippi for that call. So, John, put that one on the board for Jackson. 42-14 Bama. He sees a lot of clock management, ground and pound, some running and some passing out of 12 personnel right there. Appreciate the calls from everybody here calling in, making your points, making your ideas, making your voices known here on the show. We're going to transition to a quick topic, and that being one, Jalen Armour Davis, the cornerback for the Crimson Tide. Defensive coordinator Pete Golding spoke today in Alabama's media availability in Dallas, and according to Golding, Armour Davis has practiced. He's been in practice this week. He looks strong in practice this week. He looks good out there on the field, and this is a good thing because I remember Saban mentioning how he was still unsure as to whether Armour Davis would be able to compete and be on the field. He had been dealing with a hip issue for the last few games. He did not play in the Iron Bowl against Auburn, did not play in the SEC Championship against Georgia. So to potentially have Armour Davis on the field, that's a big deal there for the Crimson Tide. Alabama still prepping Kyrie Jackson, still prepping the JUCO transfer from East Mississippi Community College. They're still getting Jackson set to go here for this matchup, but it is just good to know that Armour Davis, he went through drills, he went through practice, he looked good, he looked strong, he was able to maneuver well. This is a very good sign here for Crimson Tide football. But we take a break right here, folks. Don't touch that dial. If your callers hold through for the next 10 minutes or call back within the next 10 minutes, when we get back from the break, we'll dive into the biggest matchup everybody's talking about. Alabama's wide receivers, Cincinnati's secondary. What could be seen here? We'll touch on it after this.
You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace at weownthefourthquarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your 4-finger bling necklace right now at weownthefourthquarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
We are back in here from the break of the action of the number one form for Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen M. Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine on a Monday, fresh off the Christmas holiday. But we're in college football playoff week for semifinals. Crimson Tide taking on the Cincinnati Bearcats Friday, 2:30 p.m. Central Time kickoff, AT&T Stadium, Arlington, Texas. ESPN has the call there on the matchup. And Going into this game, the conversation has already started, but I think as we get closer and closer to kickoff, it'll get more talk, more buzz, more dialogue, and that is one of the biggest matchups in this game. We're looking at the Alabama receiving options versus Cincinnati's secondary, and quite naturally, this is the old David-Goliath matchup, and everybody knows Alabama. Everybody knows what Alabama brings to the table, but people are intrigued by, look at little Cincinnati. The little Bearcats have made it in here. What can they do? How can they create an upset? How can they cause chaos? How can they generate success against big, bad Bama, against the big, bad empire led by Coach Saban? It's almost like, remember when you played in PE? Back in high school, and you had all the high school guys, playing pickup basketball, and you had the little 7th or 8th grade kid, and nobody wanted to pick the kid on their team, but you have to pick the kid. So the 8th grader is playing out there with the high schoolers, and everybody's wondering, they gonna let the 8th grade kid shoot? He gonna pull up from 30, drop a 3. He gonna cross you up with them handles. He gonna take it to the hole one time. What the 8th grader gonna do? Everybody's enamored by what the 7th or 8th grade kid is gonna do in the game of pickup basketball. It's the same thing in the college football playoff. Like, you have national media trying to craft narratives of, okay, how can Cincinnati pull off this upset? Where can the Bearcats make this game highly competitive? Where is a way that Cincinnati and head coach Luke Fickell can challenge Coach Saban and the Crimson Tide? Well, they figured out one part of the narrative, and that part is Alabama's wide receivers, Cincinnati's defensive secondary. And what's been said is, oh no, John Mechie's hurt. Oh no, John Mechie's out. Oh no, Mechie can't play. This means Alabama down playmakers. Alabama not enough playmakers. No one else can do what Mechie does. And Cincinnati's going to take away Jamison Williams. Alabama not in a good spot right here without Mechie on the field. Very eerily similar to what happened just a season ago. We remember when Jalen Waddle got hurt against Tennessee, and the national audience was, Waddle's out, 17's hurt, he's down. The only special playmaker, the only dynamic weapon, the only explosive guy. Alabama does not have it, Jalen Waddle. They're not going to make the college football playoff without number 17. And all Devontae Smith did was say, hold up, let me reintroduce myself. My name is Slim Reaper. And Devontae Smith had 9 games of 100-plus receiving yards, had 3 200-plus yard receiving outings. 7 of those games in which Smitty went off, Waddle was not on the field. And not only did Devontae Smith push the team to winning the SEC championship and getting to the college football playoff, and most importantly, winning the college football playoff and him winning the Heisman Trophy, becoming the first receiver to do it since Desmond Howard out of Michigan. But Smitty also burned some of the best high-end defensive backs in college football. If you remember, so many DBs kept saying, I can check Smitty, I can take 6, I can handle Smith. Smith ain't nothing. Smith burned Georgia's Eric Stokes. He destroyed LSU's Derek Stingley. He took down Florida's Marco Wilson. He handled Notre Dame's Kyle Hamilton. And he took Ohio State's Sean Wade, who was supposed to be a first-round pick, and made him look like a practice squad player on the field. That's what Devontae Smith did. And you have to give a lot of credit to Steve Sarkisian because he never allowed defensive coordinators and defensive backs to have their eyes zoned in on one specific spot when it comes to Smitty. Sarkisian moved him everywhere, had him in the slot, had him at X, had him at Z, put him in motion, had a lot of movement shifts going around. By the time the ball was snapped, whoever was responsible for Smith was outmanned, outnumbered, outflanked, and took poor angles to the football. And I feel like this is what Alabama's going to have to do with Jameson Williams. J-Mo is faster than Smitty. I know people look at Sauce Gardner and Kobe Bryant, and I get it. Both of these two are tremendous defensive backs for Cincinnati. Both of these two are NFL caliber DBs. Cincinnati's got the number 2 pass defense in the country, giving up 168.3 yards per game. They got the number 1 pass efficiency defense, giving up a rating of 100.5. Both Gardner and Bryant grade out extremely well on Pro Football Focus in terms of pass coverage snaps. But the question is, do they have enough to hang with the speed that is Jameson Williams? It's one thing when you see the speed on TV. It's another thing when you have to go mano-a-mano against that type of speed. And I get it. They're going to want to come down, jam, play press man, press coverage, get their hands on Williams, knock him off his route, reroute him, frustrate him, that type of thing. But I look at Coach Saban as somebody that's not going to have Jameson Williams in just one spot. He is going to move J-Mo in the slot. He's going to have him at X. He's going to have him at Z. He's going to put him in formation, using a lot of twists, stunts, motions, movement shifts, all types of eye candy. So by the time the ball is snapped, the eyes of Gardner and Bryant have been disrupted so much that they don't quite know, okay, where is Jameson Williams going to be upon the snap there of the football. So, it's one thing to watch his speed on television. It's another thing to see it up close and personal. But I think along with that, this is a game where, and going back to with Devontae Smith last year, you had other guys that stepped up to help Smitty. Whether it was John Mechie, whether it was Slade Bolden, whether it was players like Jaleel Billingsley. You had guys like Najee Harris out the backfield doing damage. You had Miller Forrestall putting in work. So here we go again with John Mechie out. Alabama's got weapons all over the field that can and look to step up. First and foremost, Trayshawn Holden. This sets up as a game for him. 6'3", 208 pounds, big body, got routes, got hands, had a really good week of practice in Tuscaloosa. Bryce Young talked about it. Trey catching contested balls in practice. When Mechie got hurt against Georgia, what did Holden say on Twitter? Brother, I got your back. This is a game for Trayshawn Holden. You look at Ja'Cory Brooks. Bryce Young mentioned with him, he's becoming more technical, more defined in his routes. And if that does not sound like Devontae Smith, I don't know what does. We saw him in the Iron Bowl against Auburn. When you got to have the big play, when you need to have the big catch, either I make this play or Auburn walks out of here with the victory. Ja'Cory Brooks got that done. You look at him. You've got guys like Javon Baker and Ajayi Hall. I understand people want to see both of these two guys on the field. They've done well in practice throughout this time. Will we see them on the field? Hopefully. Cross your fingers and see what takes place. You also have Jaleel Billingsley and Cameron Latou. Could be a big game for both of these two or either one of these two guys at tight end. We look at Slade Bolden, and I get it, people at times have to crack jokes on Slade Bolden, but against Georgia, the brother stepped up. 5 catches for 54 yards. You have to keep your eyes on 18, Slade Bolden. And then you have Brian Robinson, of whom he's enhanced his draft stock out the backfield, catching passes as a receiver. So this is the matchup everybody's putting the magnifying glass on. Cincinnati, elite secondary, NFL caliber secondary, marquee secondary, taking nothing away from those guys. Sauce Gardner, for his career, 18 pass breakups, 9 picks, 2 of those returned for touchdowns. He's a big-time factor. Kobe Bryant, this season, 11 pass breakups, leads Cincinnati, 3 interceptions, 3 forced fumbles, 1 pick returned for a touchdown. They know what they do. They know how to play. They know how to ball. But at the same time, Alabama has been in this situation before. Last year with Jalen Waddle, we saw how Devontae Smith stepped up, took his game to the next level, and the guys that came behind him to pick him up even more. You look at this matchup right here, you know what Jamison Williams can do. You know what J-Mo can give you at receiver. But Alabama's got other guys. It comes down to which one makes this their moment. Will it be Trayshawn Holden? Will it be Ja'Cory Brooks, Jaleel Billingsley, Cameron Latou, Slade Bolden? Who knows? The greatness is in. It could be any of these guys, and it's going to be fun to watch what they do here on the field. We take another break here, folks, on the show. Don't touch that dial. Still getting your chest warm here. When we get back, we return to the phone lines, grabbing your calls, your thoughts, your tweets, your chats, your interactions, your conversations coming right after this.
Don't touch that dial. Call in right now as we're taking your calls up next on In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Visit WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com now to get your 4-finger bling necklace.
This is Chris Rogers, 2009 national champion. You are listening to the baddest, when I say the baddest, sports show in the state of Alabama. In my own words, you know, yours truly, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Don't touch that dial.
Look at all these great players in Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Man, wait till I turn up this year. I'm going to be on the front cover. But what if Will goes off? Or Joe, DeMarco, Chris, Tim, Christian.
Don't wait. Order now at touchdownalabama.com or call 833-483-2624 today.
Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
All right, folks, we're back into the action from the break on a Monday. Number one forum for your Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. People, check this out. We got 66 likes, but we got 250 people in the chat. Run those likes up. Make this your show. Smash that like button. Trying to get up to 200 likes. Make this your channel, your platform, your network for all things Crimson Tide football. You appreciate what we're doing here for you guys. Like the show. Hit that like button. Show the show some love here right now. But we go to the phone lines to take your calls. The call segment is brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. Number to call in, 205-448-1358. We take a call right here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you're calling from.
What's going on, Steven? It's Elijah from Jersey. How was your Christmas, brother?
Dude, it was, Elijah, it was great, man. Fun time to be with family, to be with friends and just everybody. It just feels great to be rejuvenated, to be back here, and recharged to be back here talking with the Bama family.
I feel you. I'm glad to hear that. Man, I was glad that you brought up that topic about the Bama receivers and things like that, man, because, you know, people don't want to accept, you know, us losing Mechie. That is a bump in the road. Mechie was a good receiver. He is a great receiver for us, a very good possession receiver. Could take it to the house on you at any time, you know. So that is a little bump in the road for us. I'm not going to sit up here and act like that don't hurt at all. But at the same time, you know, with Jamison Williams, I just can't see a team letting him beat us. You know, when I look at this game, I know the strength of their defense is their cornerbacks, you know, but you can hear it in Fickle's voice when I looked at his interview, and he basically said, you know, we do have a lot of faith in our corners, but basically he ain't no fool to leave them out there all game one-on-one. with somebody like Jamison Williams. Like that's a Ferrari right there. That boy, he got 2 more gears compared to everybody else. And it's just no way in the world, this guy ain't going to draw double coverage. But just like you said, that opens it up for everyone else. That opens it up for a Slade Bolden, which not a great receiver, but a good possession receiver in my mind. I would personally like to see Javon Baker get some more time out there because I think that guy is very explosive. But somebody like Billingsley, this is a perfect matchup for somebody like him out there because Williams is going to take that safety and a corner. That safety, there's no way in the world you're going to leave Jamison Williams one-on-one. It's just impossible. You looking to lose the game if you try to do that. Me personally, this is just my opinion. I haven't been impressed with JoJo Earl when he was on the field too much. But, like you said, we got a ton of other Brooks. That young guy is coming into his own. Hold'em, he's coming into his own. I think we do have the talent, but I think at the end of the day, this game really comes down to what is Bill O'Brien going to do? Are we going to get the Bill O'Brien from Texas A&M, or are we going to get that Bill O'Brien from Georgia? Because I truly believe Bill O'Brien shouldn't even put the ball up in the air until they stop us on the ground. If they can't stop us on the ground, use Jamison Williams as a decoy. Let him just run out there, take them all with him, and pound them to death with B-Rob. This game, it should be very, very simple because if we get that offensive line play like we did against Georgia, then there's no way we're going to be even stopped on the ground. If we run the ball effectively on the ground, we control the clock, we win the game, we keep Cincinnati's offense on the sideline. I think it's just that simple. But if Bill O'Brien want to get down there to the 1-yard line and throw 4 passes, then we're looking for a little bit of trouble that on Friday. But I don't think Bill O'Brien will do that. I think he learned his lesson. I really think he learned his lesson from that Texas A&M game, and he, I think he's gonna put the ball in B-Rob's hand. I believe just like that. I think it was William from Mississippi. Man, we could go 12 personnel. We could throw this thing from our tight end to our tight ends. I don't think they match up speed wise with us. I think Billingsley, Latu, there'll be a mismatch for the linebackers. I give them all credit, though. I give Cincinnati a lot of credit. They do have 2 good cornerbacks that people sleep on. But Fickle said it. We can't be overconfident putting them guys out there one-on-one the whole game. That just ain't going to work. And then on top of that, these guys start chasing that deer we got all the way down the field. Next thing you know, our quarterback take off and start running. They got their backs turned. This guy going to pick up 20 yards before they turn around and know he even running down the field after him. So, let me know what type of game plan you think Alabama's going to come out with offensively to dominate this game. And it's like always, man, I appreciate you taking this call.
Appreciate Elijah from Jersey calling in. Guys, shout out Nona Davis with that $5 donation helping us out right here. Appreciate the love they're coming from Nona Davis. So my thoughts here in terms of the game plan for Alabama against Cincinnati. I would like to see the Crimson Tide open up with the run because when you play that 3-3 stack defense and they're going to try to keep all explosive plays in front of it. But when you're able to run the football, especially off the left side with Cohan and Evan Neal, at some point, you're going to command the Bearcats to put an extra guy in the box. And when that happens, now it opens up those opportunities on the outside and in the slot that you want to take there in the passing game. So I would like to see Alabama open up with the run first and foremost, get B-Rob on the attack, get Trey Sanders on the attack. But like Elijah mentioned, we will see what Bill O'Brien does because ultimately the play call sheet is in his hands. So whatever he chooses to throw out there, we will see what gets thrown out there. But appreciate you guys calling in, 205-448-1358. Now I'm going to let your voice be heard on the show, 205-448-1358. We take a little bit of a transition here to this topic and major updates for Alabama in the NFL. And starting this thing off, Trayvon Diggs. I've said this multiple times. The one area the Dallas Cowboys struggled with prior to this year was the defensive secondary. Ever since Jerry Jones made the move to draft Diggs in the second round of the 2020 draft, Dallas has solved the defensive secondary issue. This young man, 11 picks this season. 11! In the 10 of 14 games, he's had at least one interception. Man, crazy. Trayvon Diggs is tied for most single season interceptions in Cowboys history with 11, sharing that record with Everson Walls from 1981. Diggs is also tied for third in NFL history since 1970, the AFL-NFL merger, with single season interceptions with 11. Diggs is 3 picks away from tying Night Train Lane's 69-year-old record of 14 picks from the 1952 season with the LA Rams. That is the NFL record held by one Night Train Lane, the first marquee big-time cornerback. So Trayvon Diggs doing work. Diggs doing business here for the Cowboys. Then you look at Jalen Hurts. I mean, people want to sit there and crack jokes on Jalen from time to time. Yes, he has his rough moments, but when the young man is on, the young brother is on. The Eagles, 8-7. They have a third and final wild card spot for the NFC playoffs as we speak. And then Tua Tagovailoa. Talk about the Dolphins started off with a 7-game losing streak. They've won their last 6 straight. They got a chance to win their 7th straight tonight against the Saints. And Tua has the Dolphins right there with the chance to get into one of those wild card spots for the AFC playoff picture. So Diggs, Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa, big time, doing big work here in the NFL as the Cowboys already has clinched the NFC East, but Hurts and Tagovailoa trying to get their teams into the postseason. But we grab a call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Yeah, this is Spencer, also known as Homegrown Cowboy from Sulphur Springs, Texas.
Spencer, what's happening, brother?
All right. Well, I'm just kind of adding to what Elijah was talking about. I believe he's from New Jersey. But the Bearcats run a 3-3-5, and they have a linebacker by the name of Beavers. He's their run stopper. He's like 6'4", 240 pounds, and he's the guy they really rely on to stop the run. So we got to do something about him. So the other thing I was going to mention, if I was to have a game plan for this game here, I think I would wear the cornerbacks out. Everybody's so worried about them. I'd throw it downfield. Have Holden go downfield, Brooks, Jamison, all of them. Just keep wearing them out. Wear them out. And eventually when the fourth quarter or third quarter comes around, whatever you want to look at it, they'll be wore out, and we'll put the game away. So that's my comment. I'm going to let you go, and I'll talk to you guys later.
Appreciate the call that coming from Spencer, giving his thoughts here on the game plan he would have to be out there on the field. Here we go here, an update on JoJo Earl and Malachi Moore. Now, JoJo Earl was out there in practice today, the true freshman wide receiver out of Texas. Earl, who suffered a knee injury against New Mexico State in the regular season. Coach Saban mentioned he would be out for a couple of weeks but would not need surgery. He missed the Arkansas game, the Auburn game. He dressed out for the SEC championship, did not play. So He is fully healthy. He is prepared to go for Alabama against Cincinnati. Also, Malachi Moore practiced today. He was seen in the video going through drills with defensive backs. I know he's been bothered by back spasms, but he looks good to go. He's out there. He's in practice. He's been running through drills, running through practice. So we're looking like we may see both of these two, Earl and Malachi Moore, on the field here against the Bearcats on Friday. But we take a break here, folks, on the show. When we get back, we tidy up loose ends and talking about Alabama's run game. People put so much emphasis on Cincinnati's defensive secondary, but the run defense has been suspect at times. How can Alabama attack that? We touch on it after this.
If you're an avid Alabama Crimson Tide fan and you love to flaunt it, then show your Alabama Crimson Tide support by grabbing the All-Bama sneakers. They feature bold Crimson Tide graphics, so no one will be able to question where your allegiance lies. When you add these sweet sneakers to your Alabama Crimson Tide collection, go to stsfootwear.com and use the code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. That's code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. Go to stsfootwear.com and get your All-Bama sneakers today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
And we are back into the action here, folks, from the break of a number one ticket for your Crimson Tide football news, notes, entertainment, that being in my own words, with yours truly, Stephen Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine, my man John Ivory in the production studio. And before we tidy up loose ends here on a Monday, got to remind you of TDAwear.com. That's TDAwear.com. So for all of you fans still overjoyed with the Crimson Tide's national championship from the 2020 campaign, we want you to check out our championship collection merch. This means you grab you an 18 of them things, folk, hoodie, t-shirt, or sweatshirt, as well as our Got 18 We Do shirts. Designs that feature all 18 championship years on the back. You head over to TDAwear.com, do it right now. TDAwear.com and go to the Championship Collections merch tab. Get you that gear today, showing that support for Coach Saban, the University of Alabama, the student athletes, and us here at Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Gotta shout out my man Elijah with that $20 donation in the super chat, showing love. Thanks to the man Elijah helping us out here on the show. And we also got to shout out my man B-Main with that $5 donation, throwing the money in the bag there, making this your network, your channel, your show, your space to talk Crimson Tide football. Now, as we look at here, Alabama's run game. Crimson Tide running game here against Cincinnati coming up here on Friday. College football playoff semifinal matchup, Goodyear Cotton Bowl. And while so much emphasis has been placed on Cincinnati's defensive secondary, their pass defense, and for good reason, for obvious reasons. Sauce Gardner's good. Kobe Bryant is good. We're talking about two corners that will be drafted, more than likely will be drafted in the first round of next year's NFL venue. But as good as the pass defense is, the run defense for Cincinnati has been suspect at times. This is a run defense that gave up near 300 yards against Tulsa. This is also a run defense that has allowed roughly 140 yards per game. It's given up 14 rushing touchdowns. This is interesting because when you look at Brian Robinson, who's healthy, the fifth-year senior from Tuscaloosa, B-Rob said, a couple of weeks ago, he mentioned, hey, I'm healthy, I'm good, I've been working with Jeff Allen, I've been working with the training staff, I'm 100%, I'm ready to go. B-Rob, a 1,000-yard back. this season. Robinson, 14 rushing touchdowns this year. He's got four 100-yard games. And one of those 4 games came against Ole Miss, who played the same style of defense as Cincinnati. Ole Miss had a lot of that rush 3, drop 8, thinking that was going to work. And all B-Rob did was go crazy, a career high, 177 yards rushing with 4 touchdowns in that ball game. So with Ole Miss playing that style of defense and Robinson having success, Cincinnati plays in that same thing. Here's another moment where Robinson can put together a big performance. Robinson can put together a really big show. He can have a really big day out there on the field for the Crimson Tide. But not just B-Rob. I also look at Trey Sanders. This could be a huge day for Trey Sanders. This could be a 1-2 punch time for the Crimson Tide. And I mentioned this before. As good as the Bearcats are against the pass, against the run, it's not like they've been dominant. It's not like they've been impenetrable. It's not like they've been in lead. They've had games where opposing running backs have run on this team, and they've averaged big yards per carry on this team. And you look at an Alabama group that, an offensive line, that second half of the Iron Bowl against Auburn, I know it took it late in the season, but it really found itself the second half of that game. And then against Georgia in the SEC championship game, that offensive line did major work, and it looks to bring that same confidence into this matchup against a Cincinnati team that, yes, undefeated, yes, long undefeated team in the playoff, yes, it belongs in the playoff due to the success that it's had as a program. But this is an Alabama team that, in the words of Will Anderson from today's presser, still feels like it's being disrespected. Still feels like it's not getting the respect. It's not getting the reverence, as I should say, on their name that it deserves. So it's going to be an offensive line that's going to come out with a chip on its shoulder, ready to play, ready to get down to work, ready to get down to business. And when you have 2 backs like a B-Rob and a Trey Sanders, both healthy, both ready to go, running north and south, one cut, getting downhill on a defensive front of Cincinnati that's kind of a bit undersized, if you will, this could be interesting, because when you're able to run the ball and really have that balance and pound Cincinnati like that, what that does is it forces one more guy into the box, because when you run the ball, it makes the defense respect that passing game even more, because now it's like, okay, I want to bring a guy in the box to stop this run, but I know if I do this, I'm opening up an opportunity for Alabama to hit the play-action pass game, whether it's with Jamison Williams, Trayshawn Holden, Jaleel Billingsley, Ja'Cory Brooks, or whomever gets the football. So that's why it is imperative for Alabama to have success here on the ground with Brian Robinson, Trey Sanders, and even some design stuff with Bryce Young. It doesn't have to be a lot, but just some design runs to where you have to force Cincinnati to account for his legs. And we've seen since the Tennessee game, Bryce has gotten more of the understanding of it's okay to run. It's okay to pull the ball down. It's okay to use my athleticism. It's okay to take off and pick up 5, 10, 15 yards, maybe even a touchdown with my legs, because that makes the offense more dynamic. That makes us a more balanced team. That makes the rush attack of Brian Robinson and Trey Sanders that much better. That makes our passing game that much more lethal when opposition doesn't feel like I'm going to run the ball. It doesn't sense that I'm going to run the football, but then I pull the ball down, take off with it, get up and down the field. Now this adds more stress. It adds more friction to a defensive coordinator and a defensive secondary, defensive players as a whole. So it's going to be very intriguing to see how does Bill O'Brien play this as the offensive coordinator. But just in my opinion here, when you look at the team that so much has been put on their pass defense, but the run defense giving up near 140 yards a game, giving up 14 touchdowns, and you have a healthy back and Brian Robinson playing in this matchup. You have a healthy back in Trey Sanders in this matchup, and you have a quarterback in Bryce Young, Heisman Trophy winner, that's gotten a lot more confident in his ability to pull the ball down, take off, and go. I think the run game for Alabama could play a huge, huge factor here in the matchup with the Bearcats. But as always, Tide Nation, you want the best in news, notes, and information on your favorite program, that being Alabama football. You can get this by accessing the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. You download the app from the iPhone App Store if you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store if you got the Android phone. For your audio listening needs, we got you right here, iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, Overcast.fm, Google Play, TuneIn Radio, or iHeartRadio. The good and gracious Lord sees fit. Your man, I will be back on Wednesday, continuing to break down the conversation of Alabama-Cincinnati for the college football playoff semifinal matchup. As always, Tide fans, you can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama magazine, have those sent to your door. That link will be in the description. If you're trying to get the fresh edition, print edition of TDA, the magazine, you can do this by going to touchdownalabama.com. You click join, become a member, a subscriber today. That link in the description. Also, if you're trying to get that four-finger bling necklace, four-finger bling jewelry, courtesy of our guys at We Own, thefourthquarter.com. That link in the description as well. But until next time, folks, husbands love your wives. Wives appreciate, value those husbands. Children, I know you're still enjoying the holiday season, but continue doing the right thing, fun thing, smart thing, good thing, legitimate thing to not be bored. You grab you those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. You protect yourself. You protect the loved ones around you. Till next time, folks, I'm your man, Stephen M. Smith, and you have been listening. You've been listening to In My Own Words.